A happy Thursday to you and yours, friends. Welcome to Old Greenwood in beautiful Truckee, California, site of the 2024 Barracuda Championship. He's Chris Murray. I'm Mike Stephenson. You are locked into a special one-hour edition of NSN Tonight as we cover the heck out of our region's PGA Tour stop. Of course, fond memories of this event being at Montreux down in South Reno. Last handful of years up here at Old Greenwood. We love this mountain golf.
Yeah, 5th anniversary here, 26th tournament overall, and it's a huge deal for the players who are here. I know it's not the British Open, which is being played at the same time, but you come out and you win this event, it could change your entire life. You get a 2-year exemption on the PGA Tour. You get 300 FedEx Cup points. Those are really huge because there's only 2 more tournaments after this to get points to get into that 3-tournament playoff where a lot of money is handed out. So these guys, they're out here to do business, but they also love the area. I mean, you talk with any of the players, one of the favorite stops on the tour because of the beauty of this area and the fun little scoring system, a little bit different with that Stableford.
The Stableford scoring system, which they don't see a lot on tour, if not at all, allows them to be a little more aggressive is what they all have to say. And yes, we are going to chat with a handful of golfers, including a kid who's 20 years old and just at the start of his PGA Tour career, and then another guy who's in his 20th season on the PGA Tour, and then, oh yeah, there's a local product here as well. Ian Gilligan, the Galena High grad, getting an exemption. We're excited to connect with him too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cool stories. There's 156 players. The older guy you mentioned, that's Ryan Moore, a UNLV alum who is 2 decades into his career. The younger guy, Nick Dunlap, that's a guy from Alabama, actually won a tournament this year as an amateur. First amateur to win a PGA Tour event in 33 years.
Wow. And
then he turned pro, and then Ian Gilligan, the great story there. He's heading into his senior season at Florida, overcame cancer at Galena High School, actually came out to this tournament, was an invited guest, got to meet a lot of the PGA Tour players as he was battling cancer, and now battling them on the course cancer-free. So a lot of great stories. We'll share as many as we can during this show and throughout the rest of the week.
And I tell you what, Ian's playing some really good golf. Excited to connect with him and the others coming up here in a little bit. But you mentioned this is a big event when you're talking FedEx Cup standings, and there are a handful of players in the top 70, 6 of them in total. This is important golf being played out here, even if it's a quote-unquote second-tier event.
Oh, absolutely. So why do we talk about the FedEx Cup? Because if you're in the top 70 after the next 3 tournaments, including this one, then you get to go to a 3-tournament playoff. It does cut down from there. The top 70 make the first tournament, the top 50 make the second, the top 30 make the third, and there is a ton of money, tens of millions of dollars at stake. So a lot of these guys coming here, they need a good performance. If you look at the top of the FedEx Cup standings among the players in this tournament, Taylor Pendrith, 36. You got Jake Knapp at 46. Patrick Rogers, who lasted in a playoff last year in this tournament, 52nd. So all of those guys, they're pretty secure, but the guys anywhere between 70 and 100, you come out here and you perform well, there is a chance that you're going to get to those big money tournaments.
And a chance to just make a check here in Truckee as well. There are a few past champions in the field. Maybe last year, remember, we had Ches Reavy here on our NSN mobile studio desk. Andrew Putnam is back after winning in 2018. And then also Scott Piercy, he actually got an exemption, but he won in 2011 back at Montreux.
And it's got to bring good feelings when you come back to this tournament. Now, only one of those 3 guys actually won it on this course. Yeah. The other 2 won it in Montreux, but it is pretty similar. It's mountain-style golf. There were a couple of other champions who were in the field earlier in the week, weren't able to quite make it out here. It's a quick turnaround. I mean, there were 2 different tournaments last week. There was the Genesis Scottish Open, so some of these guys coming from Scotland all the way here on short notice, and then there was the John Deere, not quite as far of a trip, but it is a grind when you get out to the PGA Tour, and as we said, all of these finishes toward the end of the season really, really do count. So you might see a couple of folks a little jet-lagged coming from Scotland, but they know they got to come out here, perform well if they want to continue their season a little bit longer.
There are 8 players in this 156-player field in via exemptions, including Gilligan, who we talked about, and we'll hear from. Also, Mitchell Shao, who won the Reno Open a few months ago, that got him in here after he got it done back in the biggest little city.
Yeah, definitely a ton of ways that you can make this tournament. You can do it because you're a tour member, but you can get in via these exemptions. You can get in via special tournaments. There's a Monday qualifier that's played earlier in the week. The top 4 from that tournament get into this tournament as well. So it's just an eclectic group of guys who are all coming out here and trying to play some really good golf over 4 days. And, you know, I think the par 5s are really important. There's only 3 par 5s on this course, so it's a par 71. You have to get birdies on that. Given this system, you need birdies and you need eagles to be able to win this tournament. I will guarantee you whoever wins this tournament has at least 2 eagles during the week. That's how important they are. So you play well at the par 5s. you take a little bit of a risk, then you're going to be set up really well when you come to Sunday.
We mentioned 6 players in the top 70 of the FedEx Cup standings, but the betting odds have a guy who's outside of that top 70, not too far. Number 74, Keith Mitchell, favored at plus 1,600. Then we're seeing last year's runner-up come in at plus 25. That was Patrick Rogers. I know he's your pick.
Yeah, he was my pick last year as well. Didn't quite finish it off. Akshay Bhatia chased him down right toward the end. A little bit of bad luck for Patrick Rogers. He missed about a 15-footer on the 72nd hole that would have won him the event. Bhatia made his 15-foot putt to force the playoff, and then Rogers drove his tee shot into a divot.
That was bad.
Which is just bad luck, and he had to basically lay up from there, and he ended up bogeying that, giving it to Bhatia. But Patrick Rogers, I remember interviewing this guy more than a decade ago at Montreux, one of his first PGA Tour events. He was coming out of Stanford. He was supposed to be the next big thing on tour, so that was kind of the angle of the story. Yet to win a PGA Tour event. He's got a number of runner-up finishes. I feel like he usually does well here. Could this be his breakthrough moment? You never know. It's 1 out of 156, but he is a guy who does have some good history here.
He's motivated after that sour taste of last year. And Akshay Bhatia not in the field. He's across the pond at the Open Championship. But let's take a minute to look back on last year, because boy, it was dramatic. And yes, as you mentioned, Rogers driving into the divot reignited that whole discussion on if he should receive relief for that and if that should be a PGA Tour rule. It is not up until this point, but it was evident that it burned him on that playoff hole. And then here comes Akshay Bhatia sneaking through the back door, winning his first ever PGA Tour event at the ripe age of 21 years old. And if you've seen Akshay Bhatia play golf, the guy's he's a stick, no pun intended. He's 6 feet, 140 pounds soaking wet, but sure enough, that win last year for Akshay really catapulted him.
It has. He's 15th in the FedEx Cup standings. He's competed in all 4 of the majors, which was a goal of his to be able to do that by the time you're 22 years old. He won a PGA Tour event earlier this season, also in a playoff, so he tends to be really, really good in playoffs. But this is what this tournament's all about. It's about the guys who are going to be stars. You've had a couple of guys win here and then won major championships. Obviously, Colin Morikawa, he's the most famous of them. Gary Woodland as well. And then you've had former players who had previously won majors, kind of toward the back end of their career, come out here and win this tournament as well. So you kind of have the guys who are maybe in their 40s and the guys in their young 20s, obviously everywhere in between. But those are usually the biggest names. And this has been a launching pad for a lot of golfers over its 26 years.
At this point last year, it was the biggest moment in Akshay Bhatia's young PGA Tour career. We had a chance to catch up with him ahead of this year's event to talk about what the Barracuda meant in his PGA life.
It's been nothing but positives for the most part. Obviously, getting my first win at the Barracuda Championship was amazing. Such a special place to me. I mean, Truckee an amazing place. Obviously, Lake Tahoe, Donner Lake. I mean, we had so many great memories there. We stayed in a cabin for the week, and yeah, it's been a lot of good stuff. I've obviously won recently and played in a couple majors, so it's been a nice trend, and I think the win there has really kind of propelled me to kind of start my career off. It was kind of nice to have the opportunity to go to Barracuda because you knew you were playing, against some more of the newer players. And it was just a great opportunity for someone like me or whoever to play well, because it's a different format. We don't ever play it. So playing Stableford is a really unique situation because you can make a lot of birdies and you can still make a lot of bogeys and still be right in the golf tournament. And I feel like I was able to prove to myself that, I can play steady golf like I normally do. I make a lot of birdies typically when I play well, and it kind of just added up to a nice finish there.
That's certainly what the tournament wanted last year. A little dramatics coming down the pipe on Sunday, and Akshay Bhatia, as he said, the win propelling him to what he is doing now, top 15 in the FedEx Cup standings. Last year when we were here, they were still working on everything here at Old Greenwood. There was some construction going down and some changes and some dust in the air, if you will. It looks beautiful now, and sure enough, they've actually flipped the nines on the course. And so you mentioned there are some serious opportunities out there and some eagle opportunities.
That's not necessarily just to make the 18th hole, which used to be the 9th, more interesting. It's really about the entire back nine, where you've got a couple of par fives, you got a drivable par 4. So, if they do come at the turn on Sunday heading into the now 10th hole, there's a chance to, make up some ground and make things really entertaining and electric, and add some drama toward the end if you want to, go for it. If you are maybe 4 or 5 points back, in previous years, it'd be hard to make those up over the last couple of holes. Not so this year. It is a beautiful course. It's obviously a mountain course. These guys jump on the golf carts right after they're done with their round because they are logged logging a lot of miles. They're logging a lot of elevation change. So it's more than just hitting your golf ball well. You also got to be pretty physically fit. And it's a really cool tournament. And one of only about 42 PGA Tour events in the United States every single year, and one of them right here in our backyard.
Exactly. We cannot take that for granted. And as Akshay alluded to, a birdie helps you more than a bogey hurts you. So you're going to see a lot of these golfers go for it, as Chris pointed out. All right, coming up next here on NSN Tonight, the local kid will join us, Ian Gilligan from Galena High School, to his first PGA Tour event. We got to talk all about it right after this. This special edition of NSN Tonight continues from the Barracuda Championship here in Truckee, and here he is, friends, Ian Gilligan from Galena to the PGA Tour. You just finished your round. What was it like to play in your first event, man?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely a little nervous to start, but kind of got some birdies to fall in the back nine, which was a lot of fun to do, obviously in a PGA Tour event. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Were you feeling nerves? I mean, like you said, your first PGA Tour event, so it's a little bit different. I know you're familiar with the area, but when you tee it up, it has to have a different feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I get nervous for every tournament, but obviously it's a little different in a PGA Tour event. But yeah, I was nervous. It was nice though, just teeing off 10. It's a little bit easier of a tee shot and hole, so that was a little, it was nicer. And then I kind of got off to a decent start. But yeah, so that kind of calmed the nerves a bit.
8 points in total. You had 6 birdies. You ended up 2 under to par. You shot 30 on the back nine, so you found something in that second half, huh?
Yeah. I knew I was hitting it good. I just didn't get any putts to fall on my front nine. And then, I had one fall on hole 2, made like a 12-footer, and then kind of from there I got some momentum going with birdieing par 5, and then I hit 2 really good approach shots on 4 and 5. And then I had 4 in a row, so that was nice. And then made another good one on 7. So yeah, I had it rolling for sure.
Like you said, 4 straight birdies on your back nine, which is the front nine, because you started at 10. Did you prove anything to yourself today?
Yeah, I think a little bit. After the start, I was probably at the bottom of the field, and I knew it too. So I was, I was thinking if I could get 3 birdies on my front or back nine, that would be huge. And then, I kind of rattled them off, and when you get like 2 to go, you start to get some more confidence, and I for sure felt it. And but I think definitely, gained some confidence from today.
To have your first PGA Tour event be in the backyard of your hometown has to be obviously special. Tell us about the gallery that was following Mr. Gilligan.
Yeah, I had some family and friends out today, which is always fun. It's rare in college events just because we're on the East Coast, so my parents and some of my friends aren't able to come out and watch a whole lot, but being close to home, it's always fun to have a crowd watching, and hit some good shots in front of a crowd is always fun.
We've documented your life. You had to overcome cancer when you were at Galena High School. During that period, you actually came out to the Barracuda.
Yeah.
Chris Hoff, the tournament director, invited you out. You got to meet some tour players. I guess, what do you remember about that, and just what do you think about now playing in this tournament a couple years later?
Yeah. It's really special. I remember coming here, and Chris Hoff took me out here, and we were in the cart, and he drove me around, and we went to the range, and I saw a bunch of players and got a signed ball. It was special. And then I got to go in the locker room, and I ate lunch with some of the players, which was awesome. So that was really special. And then, when Chris told me I was going to be able to play, I was, super excited for the opportunity, because I knew I was playing pretty good. It's pretty surreal to be able to play in the tournament that I was here, not too long ago. It's really fun.
Going back to covering you in high school, man, you're grown now. You look a little different. It's so awesome to see you doing your thing, man. Did you have a chance to exchange any pleasantries with the guys you were playing with, or maybe get some tidbits from them?
Yeah, I think my caddy's done a pretty good job with that, just in practice rounds and talking to other caddies, because it's a little different. You don't have a rangefinder, and so you got to do a lot more math and go off the sprinkler heads in the yardage book. So he got a lot of pointers about that from other caddies, and I got some advice from some of my coaches at Florida. But once you kind of get in the flow of it, you get used to it. It's not too difficult. Being able to play with these guys and taking pointers from them is huge for playing at a high level.
entering your senior season at Florida, a couple of years at Long Beach State, and then transferring to the defending national champion Gators. Most recently, you played in the Arnold Palmer Cup over in Ireland. How would you describe this last year of your life and that experience in particular?
Yeah, I think it's been like a lot of learning for sure. I felt like I was really excited to go to Florida, and this year's been great, and I've had a lot of highs and lows. Felt like just learned a lot about playing golf from both the coaches at Florida. JC and Dudley have helped me a lot there with kind of just course management stuff, minimizing mistakes, and sometimes you're not going to be hitting the balls so good, and so when that happens, you got to be able to miss it in the right spots and stay patient, and I had to get a lot better at that. But obviously, I had a great win in the middle of the spring, which was awesome, and I felt like the guys in the team, really pushed me to work hard, and just a great year overall.
Man, this game has given you a whole lot, and you're still so young. I want to go back to moving to the Reno area, I believe a Bay Area transplant. What did that move to Northern Nevada do for you personally and for your golf career, you think?
Yeah, I think in terms of golf, it was good because I didn't really live on a golf course when I was in the Bay Area, and then we moved to Arrow Creek area, and being on a golf course was awesome. I was able to play with friends, every day, and it's so close to home, and so that was huge. I got a lot better, and then personally, I think it was a little bit of a change for sure, but I like it a lot here, and I have a lot of friends that I've met here, and overall, super glad that I can call myself a Nevada resident.
You're wearing the Livestrong bracelet. That's obviously a cancer awareness Lance Armstrong from a couple of decades ago, and now you're doing a sponsorship with them. Just tell us a little bit about that and what it means to you to be a cancer survivor.
Yeah, I think in terms of being a cancer survivor, it's pretty special. I kind of talked about it earlier with someone else, kind of saying how I feel so lucky to be able to be out here and compete, because not everyone who has cancer is able to beat it, and so it's pretty special to compete with guys on the PGA Tour, which is awesome. But yeah, in terms of Live Strong, they've been an awesome support for me and tons of other families, which is huge for when you're going through cancer. You don't want to think about stuff like money or you want to think about your child or your person in your life who's going through it, and so Live Strong's really helpful with supporting families like that and giving you a plan to help you have more focus on what is important, and that's the person who's going through it. So super excited to be with Live Strong.
It's clear the perspective, excuse me, that you gained from that battle has led into what you're doing on the golf course. I can imagine. I was joking with Ian that he was a toddler when these Live Strong bracelets first swept the world, but you weren't cool if you didn't have a Live Strong bracelet on your wrist, and so I think you're part of bringing those things back into fashion, if you will. I know you want to make it through Sunday here at the Barracuda Bar. Are you going to get a chance to get back to Reno and spend some time at home?
Yeah. Well, luckily I'm actually at home, so I'm able to stay at home, which is good. It's only like 40-minute drive.
That's great.
Which is it's nice. It's rare that you get to be at home for a tournament. So that's pretty fun.
That's good stuff.
They kept your childhood bedroom posters still the same, all that, or they turned into a gym and now you're sleeping on a cot?
No, it's still the same. Luckily,
Okay.
Yeah.
As it stands now, man, what's your focus as you hopefully have 54 more holes left here in Truckee?
Yeah, I think I'd like to get off to a little bit of a better start tomorrow. I think if I just keep my driver up and then tighten some things up with putting, I think I'll be in a great spot. And hopefully, keep going, maybe get into contention.
That would be pretty fun to see, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as it stands right now, you're sitting top 25. There are still a lot of players out there on the course, but there's 156 dudes here, and you're in a top level of that right now. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, for sure. Excited.
You got anything else for Ian?
Just you're going down to Vegas and you get to play in that PGA Tour event a little bit later as well. I mean, all these kind of experiences adding up. I mean, how much do you feel like you've grown as a player since, you used to call Reno home?
Yeah, I think a lot. I think, building a better way to practice is one of the main things, and, being really focused in practice, and because that's kind of the most important part, and that's how you become prepared for events like this, is the practice. And, that's been one thing, and also just getting stronger and learning constantly about, whether it's swing, putting, chipping, or, course management stuff. So just kind of overall just trying to learn and get better every day.
I remember doing a story on you probably 5-6 years ago, and I don't remember if it was a Snoopy driver or a Snoopy putter, but you were very near and dear to that club. You still have that club somewhere?
I think my parents may still have it.
Okay.
But yeah. It was
It's retired though, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Was it a driver or a putter?
I think it actually may have been an iron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Snoopy, little Tweety bird?
Yeah.
Can you give me 2 lines on how to fix my slice?
Try and draw it.
Okay, simple as that.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
U.S. Amateur coming up in under a month. How excited are you to get to Minnesota and play in that prestigious event?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been able to play in a U.S. Am, so I'm excited for that challenge. And but yeah, just ready to keep playing well.
We're excited to keep watching you play well, man. We can't thank you enough for spending some time here. You got anything for the people down at home that you want to leave them with?
I would say just I want to keep making birdies. That's the goal.
Simple as that. Tweet. That's the name of the game here at the Barracuda Championship. Ian Gilligan representing Galena High School and all of Northern Nevada. Best of luck to you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we're back right after this on NSN Tonight. Back here on this special 1-hour edition of NSN Tonight from the Barracuda Championship in Truckee. But taking some time now to go down the road to Lake Tahoe and one of the most historic sites on the lake. Our latest edition of Exploring Our Backyard is here, and here is Shannon Kelly.
Exploring Our Backyard is sponsored by Endow.
What's up, everybody? Shannon Kelly here. We're hanging out at the Tahoe Keys Marina for another edition of Exploring Our Backyard. We're out here with Cruise Tahoe. They've teamed up with the Sierra State Parks Foundation to offer a unique, one-of-a-kind cruise to check out one of Tahoe's most historic places, the Vikingsholm Castle.
This boat has been on the lake for 74 years. She is a one-of-a-kind wooden cruiser. She's been on the lake her whole life. She's a very special boat, and you're not going to find another one like her anywhere. Board the boat here in Tahoe Keys Marina. It takes about 35 to 45 minutes to get from here to the dock at Emerald Bay.
Hi, you guys. Everybody doing all right? Anybody need a beverage before I start talking? It's 22 miles long, 12 miles across, 72 miles in circumference. We are considered an ancient lake because we are over 1 million years old.
One of our crew members will walk you up to the castle, in which you will take a private tour, basically.
She hired 200 craftsmen, and they built this within about 6 months. Vikingsholm Castle was built by a lady named Laura Knight, who really liked the whole Scandinavian culture, and she wanted her home to reflect the environment around here. Once they were here, they were treated like royalty. The chauffeur would take their car, wash it, service it, put gas in it, have it ready for them. The maids would take their luggage to their room. We like having people come to share this beautiful place with them and to keep it running.
Wow. Right in the middle of Emerald Bay. How cool is this?
If time allows, we sometimes are able to hike to Lower Eagle Falls, the waterfall behind the house. The crew member takes you back to the boat. Hop on board. We have a tray of appetizers, cheese and meat platter, and some other snacks and drinks available, and then have a nice cruise back.
What an afternoon with Cruise Tahoe, checking out one of the most beautiful places in our backyard with some history along the way. We'll see you next time on Exploring Our Backyard.
Exploring Our Backyard is sponsored by LT Automotive.
I was lucky enough to be behind the camera for that. My second time visiting Vikingsholm, and as someone with some Scandinavian roots, my grandfather's from Iceland, I was so blown away to see that that place is right along Emerald Bay. It's unbelievable.
I mean, built in the 1930s, too. That's pretty crazy. I mean, it's not the easiest location to get gear, so I would have been very interested to see that thing built throughout the process. But, yeah, one of the cool treasures of Lake Tahoe. There's so many cool things about that lake, around that lake, and obviously that's one of them.
Yeah, I didn't want to give away too much within the piece because the tour covers everything, how it was built, the amount amount of money it took. It's, of course, in the possession of the state of California now, and so it's being protected by the Sierra State Parks Foundation. The boat itself also has a fascinating history. It was at one point sunk in Lake Tahoe, and then someone bought it and said, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to restore it, and now it's this beautiful boat that actually is getting ready, as the owner Ed there said, for its 75th anniversary next year. And so I cannot recommend that cruise enough. And Vikingsholm is just a sight to behold right on the lake in Tahoe. Unbelievable. Really good stuff. All right, coming up next here on NSN Tonight, back to the golf as we get set to visit with another player here at the Barracuda Championship. That's right after this. NSN Tonight rolls on here from Old Greenwood, day one at the Barracuda Championship. Thrilled to be joined now by Ryan Moore as he just finished up his round. 8 points. Bit of a slow start, but hey, you finished pretty strong. What can you say about round one, my friend?
Exactly that. I mean, it was a rough start. Felt good right away, but just kind of made a mess of my second hole of the day, so it was kind of in the hole early. And from there, just honestly played some really nice golf, battled back. Almost made a bogey a couple holes later to get even more in the hole, but kind of scrambled and made a good par, and then started making some birdies and gaining some momentum, and had a really nice back nine. Besides one little slip up on my 11th hole of the day, but yeah, overall really solid round and something I can build on into the rest of the week.
6th appearance at the Barracuda Championship. You've played it at Montreux. You've played it here. I guess when you think of this tournament and coming back to kind of northern Nevada, you are a UNLV alum. I guess what pops into your mind?
I mean, I love the area. Obviously, it's a great spot. This event I've played now for the last few years in a row, and really enjoy coming back here, and the golf course. I mean, just everything about it. So it's a really nice event for all of us. I mean, I'd say one of the most positively spoken about, from all the players on tour. You go to a beautiful place like this on a nice golf course and good weather. I mean, it's kind of hard to beat.
We've got to ask everyone about the Stableford scoring system because you don't experience it a lot on tour. That old adage, you can be more aggressive. I mean, how much different does it change your approach?
I mean, it does in a way because, right, it's better to make a birdie and a bogey consecutively than 2 pars, right? 2 pars is worth 0, but if you make a birdie and a bogey, that's a positive 1, right? So for me, even starting the day, basically doubling the second hole and getting, 3 negative points, usually I'm fighting them at least 2 or 3 holes to get back into like a positive place. And, in this format, it's like, hey, I make a couple more birdies and I'm actually back to positive, right? So it kind of makes you feel like you can dig out of those holes a little bit easier than other times. But, it's kind of interesting, the round, because of the Stableford format, like I ended up accumulating more points than I would have been under par, right? Kind of thing. So it's like it kind of benefited me today.
Yeah, you'll take it.
5-time winner on the PGA Tour, 20 years as a pro. So you said you kind of feel like it's been 20 years, I guess. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment to play on this tour for 2 decades. When you reflect on that, not that it's time to reflect, your career is nowhere near over, but I guess what do you think about being able to do what you've done?
Man, it's kind of incredible. I mean, just the journey it's been, the different phases and different parts of life. It's just every portion of it's just kind of had its own version of golf for me or in my life, and I joke that sometimes it feels like 35 years and sometimes it feels like 5, right? I mean, there's times where it doesn't really feel like I've been out here that long, and then there's other times I see all these 20-year-olds hitting it 100 yards past me, and I'm like, well, no, yeah, I've been out here a while. But no, I mean, it's been an amazing experience. I'm fortunate to be able to do this for a living, and have been able to do it pretty well, and sustain this career for 20 years. I mean, I don't know what's ahead of me. I keep feeling like I have good golf in me, but I'm also at that point in life where it's like, hey, if I don't got it, I don't got it anymore, and it's time to go hang out with the family and spend more time at home. So fortunately, the last couple of years, I've still, keep playing pretty well and keeping my card, so we'll see how it goes.
Won't give away the career earnings or your taxes. They are public knowledge. The game has been good to you. I mean, has it been more than you could have imagined?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it really has. I mean, I've had an amazing experience out here. Been fortunate enough to win a handful of times. Play in a Ryder Cup, play in every major probably 10, 12 times. So I've gotten to play with and around, the best players in the world for a long time, and gotten to, just experience a lot of things that growing up, as a 10, 12, 14-year-old, I'm just dreaming about being on the PGA Tour. And now I've been here for 20 years and done all those things that, I hoped I could maybe do one day.
Going back a decade, you won the CIMB Classic back-to-back years in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Just tell me about that experience. I can't imagine you thought the game would take you there.
No, but it was, you know, that kind of Asian swing we had there for a few years. We'd played 2 or 3 events over there in a row, and it honestly was really good for me. I don't know why. I don't know if I just time adjusted better than other people. I'm not really sure, because I mean, you feel pretty terrible there the first couple days with that time change. But yeah, I was a golf course. I just kind of suited me, and I played really well on it. And a couple of years in a row, I somehow ended up on top. So it's about the hottest place
I can imagine
you've ever been your entire life. I mean, it is incredible. The amount of humidity. I don't know if there's something beyond 100. Doesn't seem like it's possible, but it feels like it when you're out there. Like, it's just incredible.
From a guy who played his college golf at UNLV, where it can get up to about 115, 120.
Right. I'm used to the heat, just not the humidity.
Yes.
That side of it kind of wears on me.
And
so.
you did win a tour event in Las Vegas as well about a decade ago. You're in the Rebels Hall of Fame. Do you remember who else was in that class with you when you were inducted?
Oh, I'm trying to think of it. It's been a while since that ceremony. Off the top of my head, I can't think.
Who are some of the top big men on campus when you were there? Obviously, you know, you were a great golfer, but not a football or a basketball player. Maybe a little bit different profile.
Yeah. You know, we did have some good athletes at that time. I think it was Marcus Banks was on the basketball team at that point. He went on to have a pretty solid, you know, NBA career. I know we had a couple baseball players who were really good, and football players, but they all kind of, you know, didn't despise me. But I kept winning the you know, the athlete of the year every single year. You know, I'm walking out on the football field, and they're like, you know, golfer Ryan Moore, and they're like, oh, it's golfer again. Well, I'm sorry, I keep winning everything. You know.
Well,
but
of course,
it was good. It was fun.
Of course, a lot of folks watching this bleed Nevada Wolfpack silver and blue. What do you remember about that rivalry, and is it still within you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's as you know, going to the school and supporting it. Obviously, yes. I mean, there was definitely some rivalry there. I feel like you guys beat us all the time when it really mattered and came down to it, especially when I was in school, and I think still kind of do so. But, you know, on the golf side of it, it's like, well, like, golf is so different. You don't really play head-to-head. You don't, you know, you're going to tournaments playing against 12, 15, 16 other teams, so it's not, you don't really have the direct rivalry as much, you know, on the golf side of it. So, you know, for me personally, it was never that, you know, big a deal. But, you know, on the school side, I was always pulling for us, and they were always letting me down, you know.
It's just as good as ever, that rivalry, I tell you what.
You weren't the fan throwing the beer cans at the coaches. That does happen in this rivalry.
It gets
in
a little
football,
too
but
ugly.
Yeah, no, that was
too
that
high
wasn't
of a
me.
profile. I mean, so you've been here a lot. Is there like a place you got to go when you come up to Truckee, or a restaurant, or anything in particular that stands out to you?
Well, we went actually last night. It was the last couple of years. This is when it's close enough for us that my wife actually just kind of comes up and we make kind of a, you know, a nice weekend out of it. It's kind of easy for her to get to, and, you know, not too bad to get home if she really needed to or something like that. So last night we went to Moody's in Truckee, and that's why we went there last year a couple times, and just great food and nice atmosphere and a good spot. So we went straight back there last night, and again, did not disappoint. The food was fantastic and had a great time.
If you had not been a pro golfer, where do you think life would have taken you?
I have no idea. It's about the only thing I'm good at, so I'm glad it worked out, and especially for as long as it has. So, I mean, I'm sure there was other areas of interest. There was things, you know, that might have, you know, taken me one way or another, but I was pretty determined to be a professional golfer. My younger brother always, you know, gave me a hard time about, you know, what's your backup plan? What's your backup plan? You know, when I was in college, and I always joked with it. It's maybe mean, but I said people with backup plans use it, so I'm not going to have one. So I was very focused. You know, this is what I was going to do, and yeah, look where it got me.
Sure enough, it is quite literally paid off. You got anything else, Ryan?
I mean, I'm kind of curious about what the younger brother does for a profession.
So
what's he up to?
Did he have to go to the backup plan?
He's not a golfer. He was actually a pretty good one, but no, he's doing really well. We have a shoe company together, True Links Wear, the golf shoe company. And apparel and all that stuff. But so he's the president, CEO of that company, designs everything. Like, he's doing an amazing job. We've grown a ton the last few years, and I got to give him a lot of credit for that.
So what you're saying is he jumped on your back, though.
Well,
I'm playing. He did his own.
Let him have
he did his own part.
Yeah.
All right, what's your mentality going into Friday and then hopefully the weekend?
I mean, keep doing what I did. Besides the one kind of bad hole I made a mess of today,
got it out of the way.
the rest of it was really nice. So I feel positive. Gonna go practice. Felt like I got better and better momentum towards the end of the day. Both my putting and swing, everything kind of just kept feeling better. So go get a little bit of practice in now to kind of try and lock that in, those feels, and just try and carry that into the next 3 days.
Well, we really appreciate you stopping by here before you get to those practice swings. Ryan
Absolutely.
Moore, 8 points at the Barracuda, trying to claim a title here in Truckee. We're back right after this on NSN Tonight.
Back here at Old Greenwood in Truckee, our coverage of the 2024 Barracuda Championship continues. With Chris Murray, I'm Alex Margulies. Nick Dunlap joining us here on the desk, and at the time of taping this, one of the leaders after day one, 12 points, 6 birdies, bogey-free day. You must be pretty happy with how you played here on Thursday.
Yeah, played really solid. Drove it great, which I think is a big key out here. There's crap on each side of the hole, and there's lost ball waiting on each tee shot. So, hit it nice, hit my irons really well, and made some putts.
First time out in this region, I guess. What have you thought of the Northern Nevada, Northern California area, and just this golf course, and playing it and getting ready for this tournament?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like you said, first time out here. I'm a big fan. I haven't played much mountain golf. I played one time last year, but it's nice having the ball go a little bit further, and you got great views on every hole.
Take me through the last couple holes on this golf course. You were able to birdie, I believe it was on 6. You made a nice birdie putt there, and then on 18, great chip and putt to save par and keep that kind of bogey-free round. I was following you there in the last couple of holes. What kind of stood out to you about those few finishes?
6 is a hard hole. Hit a really nice iron shot. That was pretty much exactly what I was trying to do, and then hit a great putt. And 18 didn't hit that bad of a tee shot. Just tugged it a little bit. Kind of got a tough little lie, but no, great way to cap off the day.
Obviously a different scoring system than you guys are used to out here on the tour. The Stableford scoring system really rewards eagles, birdies, and you got a lot of birdies. So you said this is the first time you've played this format, I guess. Does it change your approach at all, and just what are your thoughts on a different format?
A little, maybe. You have 3 par 5s, 2 drivable holes, so maybe, you don't want to play reckless, but obviously maybe a little bit more aggressive because, like you said, eagles are worth 5 points. So it's neat. This is my, like you said, first time playing, and it's nice to have a different format sometimes. It's I think it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, there's always, this tournament builds itself a lot of times is, hey, who are kind of like the next rising stars in the PGA, and you right now at 20 years old did something incredibly special earlier this year as an amateur. You actually went and won a PGA Tour event, the American Express. Take us back to that and being able to hoist a trophy and win a tournament as an amateur, which hasn't happened in over 30 years. Pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. No, it was a very memorable week. To go as low as I did, you kind of have to have everything go right. I think I got off to a start. It was like birdie, eagle, birdie. I started, and it just kind of kept going from there. Made a ton of putts that week, and kept the vibes good. That was the first time Hunter actually caddied for me, so we were 1 for 1. But no, it was an awesome week.
And obviously, as Alex said, a lot of history. You're also the second youngest tour winner since World War II.
Wow.
Jordan Spieth a little bit younger when he won an event. So, you ended up turning pro. You were at Alabama at the time. What have you learned, this last kind of 7-8 months on tour about being a professional and making that adjustment?
Yeah, a lot. A lot goes into, learning some of these courses, what I've got to get better on, week to week. I think something that was different for me is playing 5-6 weeks in a row. How do I keep my game sharp? Kind of how I practice out here, what kind of goes into my schedule, how do I work out, how do I do all sorts of stuff, form a team. I've been trying to learn how to do that, and it's been getting a little bit better.
How hard was it, I guess, you do win a PGA Tour event, but because you're an amateur, you couldn't cash the check. I'm sure that one kind of stings a little bit, but it's nice to get on and start making money now, but I'm sure that must not have been an easy one.
Yeah, I missed out on that and the points as well, which stung a little bit.
As you try and wrap up this season, I guess, what are your goals to finish out this year?
Hopefully try to win one more, but no, just play as well as I can. I think I've been playing really well the past couple of weeks. It just hasn't clicked. I've been doing one thing really well one week and then not so much the next, and it just haven't really been able to put it all together. So just kind of keep trending, kind of keep doing what I'm doing.
Chris mentioned played your college golf at Alabama. What do you feel like going there and playing golf for that school helped you kind of prepare you to get out after this hot start in the PGA?
Yeah, Coach Sewell is awesome. I think he you know, and Hunter was there also my freshman year. He was an assistant coach there, so that helped as well. But, you know, Coach Sewell's track record speaks for itself. They're building an awesome new facility, which I'm lucky enough to maybe practice there for a year or two. But, yeah, just, you know, playing their schedule, having him kind of looking over you every day, it just, you know, helps me keep progressing and getting better each day.
I'm sure you envisioned being there a little bit longer than you ended up being there, but I guess, you know, making your dream come true as a pro golfer at age 20, what has that meant to you?
Everything. Like you said, I didn't exactly expect it to happen this soon, but it was very, I want to say bittersweet. I think, you know, I get to come out here and live my dream, play professional golf, but also, you know, I left my brothers back home and, you know, would have loved to play a couple more years for Coach Sewell in Alabama.
Another SEC golfer in the field that has some local ties to the area, Ian Gilligan, who went to high school in Reno. He's here on a sponsorship exemption. What kind of advice would you give to Ian as somebody that, you know, not so dissimilar to you, just trying to kind of break in and get that first opportunity here on the PGA Tour and make the most of it?
I think he finished up at Florida, I believe. But it wouldn't surprise me, obviously, with Clanton doing what he did at John Deere. I think, you know, you're going to see a lot of that coming up. You know, those coming out of college, these, you know, hopefully me included, but they're really good. And I think a lot of people are starting to see that. So it's good to see them, you know, perform on this kind of stage and show just how good these amateurs are getting.
Obviously, when you think Alabama athletics, a lot of it goes to football. I guess, do you have any great memories of going to football games? And I guess, how do you think the Tide will do post Nick Saban?
Yeah, I grew up going to football games. We had season tickets for a while, so I grew up going to games and on that campus. But I think we'll be pretty good, honestly. I got to talk to Coach DeBoer a little bit and their new DC, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do this year.
All right, Nick Dunlap, 12 points after day one of the Barracuda Championship. Have a great rest of your weekend here. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, much more coming up here from the back deck at Old Greenwood. Our coverage of the Barracuda Championship rolls on right after this.
Dropping a bow on this special 1-hour edition of NSN Tonight from the Barracuda Championship as we tape. Still some guys out there playing, but if the leaderboard as it stands is any indication, should be a dramatic weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. I like this scoring system. It is different. It's the only stop on the entire tour that uses it. So you're looking for those birdies and your eagles. And I think it was cool that we got to talk to a variety of different people on the show. You got a guy who just turned pro who's 20 years old. You got a guy who's been on tour for 20 years and got some Nevada roots as a UNLV grad. And obviously, Ian Gilligan. It's one of the most spectacular stories really over the last couple of decades in our region. For him to overcome cancer and now be playing PGA Tour events a couple years after that, that's what makes tournaments like this special. I mean, if you want to become a big-time PGA Tour player, this is where you start. And we'll see how things go over the next couple days.
Ian Gilligan, all grown up, man. Looks like a grown man. He's all sprouted past us, and so we want to see him make the cut and have some fun this weekend. We have another special 1-hour edition of NSN Tonight coming your way tomorrow. But, hey, join me first on News 4 and Fox 11 bright and early Friday morning as we cover the heck out of the Barracuda. Shout out to our entire team on site. We'll see you tomorrow.